Hello, welcome to my MS is Great channel. In this video, I will go through how to integrate Azure DevOps with Power Automate and do an end-to-end Azure DevOps process. I'm taking one process, which is the bug creation, resolve, and close. We'll walk you through how this workflow is done and what are the processes involved while creating a bug and closing the bug. Let's start. Okay, so basically for the Azure DevOps plus the Power integration, in this video I'll just go through this process. First step is to create a bug in the Azure DevOps. So whenever an Azure work item with a bug work item type is created, a link is created for each bug, where this link is nothing but the test cases for the bug item. Imagine if a developer is going to fix any bug, there should be associated test cases for the bug. So every time when they create a bug, developer can fix it and make it resolved. And once it is resolved, this is the next step. A developer fixes the bug and he marks it as resolved. So once he marks it as resolved, what happens is that workflow is triggered and approval notice is sent to the tests, which is the linked test link assigned to the people. So imagine if a bug is assigned to a multiple test cases, each owner of the test cases will get an email. So we create a workflow process which is everyone must approve case, and to pass a bug to be closed, everyone from the test cases should test it and then approve it. Only then it will be closed. We also modify the custom notification for the workflow. This workflow will not send Teams approval. Instead, it will send us an email. Then the user has to click on the link to approve. This is kind of old-fashioned, but that's how we are looking for. And once it is approved, the bug will be closed automatically. And if it is rejected by any one of them, what happens is that the state is set to active again. So remember, the developer is setting to resolve, but since it is rejected, it will set to active again, and commands will be added into the same work item, so that developer can read what is the command and activate based on that. So this is a simple process. We're going to do Azure DevOps integration. So technically, if you see here how we going to achieve, first we need to have a trigger, which is the trigger based on the Azure DevOps connector. So every time when a bug is set to the state resolve, then workflow is triggered or the Power Automate is triggered. And once it is triggered, what we're going to do is that we're going to use the Azure DevOps REST API to get all the linked test cases. And we use a special REST API. And once we get to know all the linked test cases, we identify the assigned to the test cases, and we send an email or create approval for all the assigned to test cases people. And once we create an approval, this approval is nothing but everyone must approve type of an approval, and it sends to all the assigned people. So once it sends to the people, they can approve or reject based on the outcome. A custom email is sent to the original owner of the bug, so that it is approved or rejected, and also the work item is updated with the relevant status using the REST API. Again, we are using the REST API to update the state, also a separate REST API to update the comment. Okay, so this is the technical flow. Let's see how the process is. Okay, let's see how the Azure DevOps has been set up. You can see here, this is a simple project which I have set up for the demo purposes. There are several work items here. I'm going to take only this work item, which is the HTML POC. This work item is nothing but a bug being assigned to Santhamal, which is myself, This bug is nothing but, you can see the details, open the HTML and there is a missing element. So basically there is a bug in the home page. And also you could notice that this bug is linked to the parent, which is the story, and also tests. So tests, nothing but you can link it to a test cases or a test plan. So in this, it has been linked to only one test case, which is HTML POC pages test, and this test case is assigned to R1. This is one of the developer, I mean the tester. So this tester has to test every time when this bug is fixed or resolved. So what is going to happen is that whenever this developer changes this status from new to resolve, it identifies that there is a test case, and it opens a test case and identifies whether this test case is assigned to R1, and it is going to send the approval mail to R1 for now. And based on the rejection or approval R1, this test case or this bug status will change. Okay, we are going to see both approved and rejected. Let's go into the Power Automate, which is already been running. So for this video, I'm not going through creating each actions. It's a bit tedious task and it takes half an hour more to do it. But I'm going to run through the existing workflow so that it is easy for you to follow. So first, there is a trigger which I mentioned you. So this is the organization name and this is the project which is in the DevOps, and you can filter by bug. So you can see here the type, you can filter by the bug, and also you can specify the closed status. So notice that I'm filtering out the trigger of bug which is resolved only. So I'm just taking only, so this will be triggered only for the bug which is resolved. Next, this is a parse JSON. You have to use it. If you are directly trying to get it from this output, you are going to get it empty. So make sure that you parse the JSON, whatever the output from this Azure DevOps REST API. Okay, so that is my experience. So you have to use the parse JSON. So I have my schema, then I'm parsing the JSON to get the bug detail. And there are few variables which I have declared. Later I will go through those variables so we can initialize it to some initial values. So what I'm going to do is the next. This is the REST API which I am going to use. What it does is that it gets all the link which has been linked to the bug. So imagine you see here there are two links here, and the REST API is going to get these two links which is here. So basically you can see here $expand equal to relations, and this is the version, so forget it. So this is the key. What you're going to do is that just use the REST API here of the work item tracking. WIT is the work item tracking, work items, and the ID which you get it from here, the parse JSON, you get the ID, and use this $expand equal to relations. So what it does is it will return all the related IDs. Okay, and again use the parse JSON. You'll have to use it. You run it once and get the payload and use the payload to use the schema. That's how I use it. You can also do one more thing. You can copy and paste it into your browser, and it can generate you the information also. So like for example, I just copy this, go to your browser, and instead of system ID, you just remove this. Okay, I'm going to use the original ID. Say for example, let me say 104. I don't know what is this ID is, which is 106. Okay, so let's go to 106. So in this case, it should give to link, enter. Okay, see here, it gives you the details directly in the browser. You don't have to really run and see the payload. Make sure that you log in with the same ID which you are using in the DevOps. So the DevOps is logged into the Sentinel ID, and this will work based on the logged in ID. So this is the URL and this is the payload. You can copy the payload and use it. So see here, this gets the relations. So no matter you're looking for the relation, this is default. It will always emit this. So ignore that for a moment. We are interested in this links. So the first link you can see here, tests, and the second link is the parent, which is the link dot hierarchy. What we're going to do is that we're going to parse this and get the URL, which is very important. This URL is very important. Why? Because we're going to take this URL from the parse JSON and take this ID, which is 107. With this ID, we're going to get the assign to. Why? Because we need to create an approval for all the test cases being assigned to. So I'm going to take this 107 and get the ID. That's how it is done here. Okay. So the get work item children, what it does is it gets the ID, the parse link, you get the ID, and the work item type is the test case. And what I'm doing is that with that ID, I'm going to get all the children. Okay. Next one, I'm going to run for each. So if you see here, for each is running for all the parse links. So which is this, basically the relations. Okay. If you go back to your relations, so this is an array. Okay, this is an array. I'm going to run for each. Okay, I'm getting the relations and it will run for each. That's what it does here. You can see here relations. So it runs for each relation to get the URL. And we are not interested in the parent link. So you need to filter out the parent. You are interested only in the tests. So you'll have to specify. So how do you understand? So if you go back here, rel, it gives you clearly what is the type of link it has. This is parent, we need to ignore. So we are going to process only when the link type is tested by reverse. That's what we are doing it here. Okay, tested by reverse. So make sure that the rel is equal to tested by reverse. So only the test link will be passed here. So with the test link, you need to get the URL, and I'm using this formula. Make a note of this formula. So basically this formula, what it does is it gets the URL, the whole URL, and it splits the URL. Split function will create an array based on this slash, and we are interested only in the last index of an array. Why? Because the ID is at the last. So I'm using the last. So it contains two functions in a chain. First it splits, and then I just take the last variable. So make a note of it. Okay. So the ID has been assigned, or it gets this ID 107 been in this variable or in the compose. And there is another REST API or the default connector which comes along with the Azure DevOps default connector. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to pass the ID and get the details of this particular work item. Okay. So for this, you don't really need a separate REST API. You can directly use the existing Azure DevOps connector. Okay. And once you get the details, as I mentioned you, every time when you call your Azure DevOps connector, make sure that you call the parse JSON, or else you don't get the value. So you'll be wondering why it is always empty, and there is no error as well. So I trust me, is like it took so much of hours to identify why the value is empty. Then I went with parse JSON. So you pass the body, again you find out the payload, and you can put the schema here, and it gets the value. So once you get the value, what I am doing is that I am just getting the assign to. So see here, this is the ID, and in the ID, if you use the get items, get work item details, it gives you the assign to, which is stored here. You can see here it is somewhere, it is assigned to. Okay, system assigned to, and the assigned to email. You can see here there is one more which is assigned to email here. Okay, we are going to use this. So assigned to Imagine there are 2-3 test cases. In this, there are only one test case. Imagine if there are 2-3 test cases for a single bug. What it does is it will run in a loop and form a chain of email, so separated by semicolon, so that create approval task will be easier. So I'm just forming a variable with all the assigned to. In this case it is 1, so it will create just 1. To identify the number of approvers, I'm incrementing it. Why you need the number of approvers later will be used in the subsequent stage. Okay, so I'm just getting the count of, just incrementing the count of number of approvers to be used. If there are 2 test cases, it will be 2. If it is 1 test case, it is just 1. Now I'm going to create an approval. So whenever you create an approval, I'm using a create an approval. Why? Because I'm going to subsequently modify the notification. So if you don't want to modify the notification, like you want to have a default Teams notification and the Outlook notification with the actionable button, you can always use create and wait. Here I'm using the custom notification as an email, so I'm using create an approval. Just first I'm creating an approval, and in my case everyone should approve, because even if a single test case fails, the bug is not fixed, so everyone must approve. And I'm getting the details, the title of the bug and the approver to whom you want to send the approver to. In this case it is a test case assigned to, or the test case owner. I'm forming some text which you will see in the email later. Basically I'm just adding a few of the details. So this is the custom template or the custom email text which will be sent. So I'm particularly forming my own text here, so that's why I'm using my custom email. That is the main reason. And the item link and the description for the item link. Item link is nothing but your the original bug item link, because every time when the approver comes to the test case owner, the test case owner should know what is that bug for. So they will click on a link and you can take it to the bug. Next, the requester is again the assigned to, and see here, this is very important. I am disabling the notification, this one. So by default it will be yes. So if it is yes, you will immediately get the Teams approval notification. I don't want that, so I set it to no. So you need to note down this. And next, the same template which was created here, I just pass in here. So approver email, which is in a variable, then the title which is in the approver, and the detail and the bug ID link. So I'm forming my own email. So the main purpose of this custom is that I want to have my control on the email which is sent. And I'm also adding CC, so it's fine. So every time when a bug is set to resolve, it sends an email to the test case owner. Also it sends a CC to the bug owner as well, so that it knows that to whom it has been approved, sent for approval. Okay, and immediately you send it to wait for an approval. So wait for an approval, you send this one. And if you notice here, inside the email I have used this link. This link is nothing but if you go to the HTML, you will see that this link is nothing but the approver response URL. So there will be a response URL. Let me show you here. Okay, so the create an approval, which is this process, it has a respond link, which is very critical. So you need to have this respond link in your email so that people can click and then approve or reject. Okay, so whenever email is sent, an approver click on a link, it takes you to Power Automate and they can approve there. Okay, it is not an actionable button, so it is not immediately take an action within the Outlook. It will take it to the Power Automate, so you need to really note that. Okay, anyhow, that's what I want. So wait for an approval is done, and after that I am composing the output from the approval. If for example if someone approves, it has all the details of when it is approved, what time it is approved, and what is the response they have taken. If multiple people have approved, it takes all the outcome. what time, when, who. So all these details are in the outcome. I'm checking the outcome whether it is null, outcome whether it is approved. So then I will proceed. Okay. So once it is approved, if it is approved, it goes to true. I'm calling two more REST API. Why? Because calling a REST API to add a comment, it doesn't work in the same API. So you'll have to call another API to do the comment. First API, I'm just updating the status. So you need to use the patch method. Just note here, it's a different one. You need to use the patch method and make sure that you pass this URL with the ID. And also this is very, very important. Make sure that the content type is this, or else your execution will fail. This is very important. And this is the JSON payload you need to send. I'm just updating the status, so it is all fixed. So there is nothing variable here or dynamic here. So make sure that you follow this path. This is a fixed path you have to supply. So this is the replace operation, because existing state is changed from resolved to closed because it is approved. So I want to set it to closed, and the path, just copy this. Okay. It has to be exactly like /field/system.state. System.state is a keyword. And approve comment. How do you add the comment? Again, you need to follow use another REST API, which is comments/comments, and it is a post method. See here, it is a post method, not a patch method. You cannot be using a patch. So you need to use a post method. And this is the format. You need to say text : and this can be any text. Okay. Here I am just saying that it is an automated comment. People should not think that someone is commenting. So every time when the comment is posted, the comment is posted with this ID. So if your Power Automate is running on behalf of some other user ID, people are a bit sometimes get confused that someone is commenting on your work item or the bug ID. So what we do is that we always say it is an automated comment and outcome of your approval process, so that you are not confused. It's an automated one, and it will be posted by my name. Same with the rejection. Call the API to update patch method. Make sure that it is patch method and the content type header is this, and you need to replace it to active. In this case, it is active. You are setting back to active. So if the bug owner is setting it to resolve, then if the test case doesn't pass, then you make it active. Again, the rejection comment, this is very critical. You need to add the comment at one word. So you can also get the comment from the response. So see here, for example, just to show you. Okay. So wait for an approval. You can see here, it gives you the responses, all the detail. Okay. So the responses, comments. You can parse this and then add here as well. I have not done this because it's a for loop. It is a array. So you need to have another for each to get all the comments, combine into a string and then put it here. I'm not doing that now. I'm just adding the outcome. That's it for now. If they want a comment, then I can see it somewhere. So this is the whole process. We are going to execute and see whether it works. We're going to use the approve method first, then see whether the bug is automatically been resolved. Let's go to the DevOps. This is the bug which has been assigned to me. I'm just opening it. Make sure it is here. It is in the new state. So I'm just going to make sure that it is in active state. Save it. Okay. So if it is in active state, the workflow should not trigger. Okay. Remember, this activation is for every minute. You can see here the trigger. I set it to every minute as soon as possible. So we can wait for a minute and then see it is triggered. It should not trigger. Why? Because we are just filtering only by the status resolve, not by active. I set it to active, so it should not trigger. Let's go back and see. Let me save this. It is successfully saved. Go back. it is more than a minute now, so everything is 3 days back, so hopefully it is not running. Okay, so it is not running. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the state to resolve. Okay, resolve and save it. So now it should trigger within a minute. Let's go back here and wait whether it is running. Okay, you can see here it has started running in just a second before. So once it has started running, let me open this so that we can see where it is. And I also logged in as R1 in one of the window. So see here, this is another window where it is logged in as R1. Hopefully R1 will receive an email. See here, perfect. So this is the person, R1 is the person for the test case owner, and she will receive the email. Okay, and you can see, and it has CC to the original bug owner, and it is mentioning that this is the custom message which I wanted, so that's why it is like this. Another problem, you should, the date and time are in UTC, so you'll have to convert it into your local time zone. Okay, so basically I'm just saying that this bug was resolved by blah 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 on this time. Please test the issue and approve the closure, and reject. If it is rejected, then add the comment, and it gives you the URL. So basically it gives you directly the dev.azure.url, but in original Word you should give you the original URL, meaning that it should give you this URL, the original URL of an ID, so that we can get it, but it's fine, it's a small issue, we can do that always. And the link is there, which is the respond link. You can see here when I mouse over, it takes you to the Power Automate. I click on the link, it opens a Power Automate for that particular workflow or the flow, and it gives you an option to approve or reject. So one of the drawback of using your custom email is that no matter whatever the action has been taken, this email is not updated. So people can keep on coming and clicking on the link, but if they came, if the action has been taken before, they might get some error. Okay, not like an actionable button. You can see here it opens a Power Automate to a specific item, and it shows all the details. So whatever the details are here, it is there, and you can see the full details plus the response, whether you want to. And remember, reassign, we disabled it, so it is disabled. So I'm going to approve and add a comment. This comment is not captured yet for now, but it's always good to have. So I'm confirming it. So once confirmed, what it should happen is that the test, the bug ID, now it should be closed. See here, it is closed automatically by the REST API. Okay, I set it to resolve, but it automatically closed. And if you notice that, let me refresh it. Okay, so this is the one which is closed, and if you notice that it has added one comment. Okay, this is also automatic. You can see here, this is the comment. Remember, automated comment, which is the outcome approved. So right now we are displaying only the outcome. So if you want to have a original comment from the approver, you can parse it and put it in a string and then display it here. So which is not a difficult task, but you can do it. Okay, so let's see what is happening, what has happened. A trigger happened. You know that the trigger happened based on this. So this is the main status, and parse JSON, I'm getting the details, and key thing is that I'm calling the URL. Okay, this is the URL, get method URL. You can see here, this is the URL for the links, and it runs for each. Okay, first there are only one link, which is the test by, so it runs for one item. We are filtering it here, it should run only for the test, so it runs for two, but it filters only one. Okay, so if you see here, it will not come here. Okay, you can see second item, it has not gone in, only for the first item it goes through. And ID, I'm parsing the ID. You can get the 107 ID is the, you can see 107 is this, which is the test case for a bug. And calling another API, you can see the input, show the input, this is the API call, full API call, and this API gets you the detail of that. With this ID I'm getting the full details. Again, you need to use the parse JSON, get the full details of the test case. Once the test case details are happening, then you get the email ID of the owner, test case owner, and just increment it. In the future you might use it. And the create approval, send email, wait approval, all this happens. Then you can update to the state closed and add the command. Okay, so this is how it happens. The same happens for the rejection. I'm not going through because it's the same workflow, so it will work. Hope this is helpful to you. Thank you so much. Subscribe and like if it is really helpful to you, which makes me a big difference. Okay, thank you.